Well. Starmer gags Labour MPs in voting for a full public inquiry ahead of today. Yes, you actually read that correctly. Starmer is gagging or whipping Labour MPs into voting against a full public inquiry. What has this man got to hide? Guys, if you're watching this live, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on it. The question is, has Starmer got something to hide? Yes or no? If you're watching on a replay, again, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it. Well, it's been a very, very busy few days with regard to this situation. And again, more pressure is coming the way of Keir Starmer and this Labour government in doing a full inquiry into the rape gang scandal. Look, the situation is that Labour don't want to do it. They don't want to do a full public inquiry, and it looks like that's being headed up by Keir Starmer himself. And as stated, guys, Kemi Badenoch is trying to push this forward, and there might be a forced into a vote today. Prime Minister's Questions is going to be starting in around 2 hours' time, so we're going to be seeing all of it happen and seeing what actually happens if this vote goes ahead. But let me tell you the full story on what we've got with regards to Starmer whipping his Labour MPs to voting against should this public inquiry vote actually happen. Yes, this is 2025, and Starmer is a disgraceful leader. Why is he doing this? What has he got to hide? Well, as I said, let's go through it. So, what's being said today, guys, is that Keir Starmer will today order his Labour MPs to vote against calls for a new national inquiry into the Asian rape grooming gang scandal, insisting the time has passed to ask any more questions. However, the Prime Minister was accused of moral cowardice by the Conservatives after the Minister rejected a request from Labour-run Oldham Council for a fresh investigation. Tory leader Kemi Badenoch today plans to table an amendment in the Commons to the government's Children Wellbeings and Schools Bill. It will call for a specific investigation into failings and cover-ups in about 60 northern towns over Pakistani heritage rape gangs. Keir Starmer also faces pressure from Reform UK Nigel Farage, as yesterday he threatened to crowdfund his own private inquiry. Number 10 insisted that if selected by the Speaker and successful, the Tory motion would in fact torpedo Labour's flagship schools legalisation. As a result, the PM is prepared to use his huge majority with a 3-line whip, ordering Labour MPs to vote against it. Keir has insisted that the 2022 independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, which took 7 years to complete, was thorough enough to identify any failings and take action. His spokesman said the time has passed for more inquiries and consultations, especially for victims and survivors who clearly want action. Yet campaigners, as said, insist the previous inquiry, led by Proof Alexis J, only skimmed the surface of organised abuses by men of largely Pakistani heritage. So, as stated, guys, again, today is going to be a very, very interesting one in terms of Prime Minister's Questions. But as you can see, troops, this is diabolical. I can't actually believe what we're reading with actually on this situation, that they're whipping him into it. Why doesn't he want a full public inquiry? There are so many people that are needing answers. There's so many. Apparently, we even scratched the surface of how deep this scandal actually is. And these previous inquiries, as stated, have only scratched the surface. So, again, I was watching Jordan Peterson and Piers Morgan earlier on today, and the estimated amount, it could vary from 10,000 to 1 million people that were abused by these gangs and scandal, these gangs. So why can't a full public inquiry be happening? Why is everybody kind of uniting, whether that be Reform, Conservatives, neutrals in this situation, but Labour are the only ones that don't want a full public inquiry? And I will say Labour, in fact, again, we're starting to see, due to this headline, that of course it is only Keir Starmer Starmer. Keir Starmer's the one whipping his MPs. He's forcing his MPs into voting against it and staying silent on the matter. So I can imagine that the majority of the Labour MPs actually within his own party would actually want a full public inquiry. I'm sure of it, because not all of those, there's hundreds of Labour MPs in there, obviously take the majority of the seats. I'm sure there would be a lot of them that actually going, no, I do want to see a full public inquiry. So that's probably why Starmer's whipping them into voting against. They could also lose their job if they do go against it. So again, this is absolutely mental, and I'm certainly looking forward to Prime Minister's questions. That's going to be starting in around 2 hours. We'll be here for the sort of fallout from it. I think Kemi Badenoch, again, whether you like her or not, she is pushing for this inquiry, this full public inquiry, and we'll go hard on him today. So I want to see him. Again, he won't answer any questions. We know what he's like. But I can imagine the whole of Prime Minister's questions is just going to be about this whole scandal and why they're refusing every single twist and turn to go against the full public inquiry, despite everybody else that Starmer dubs as the far right, yet the whole of the world that aren't Labour supporters, by the way, far right, into wanting a full public inquiry, because there's so much that has not yet been released. There's so much more work to be done with this scandal, and there's still justice to be found for the victims. And this is a problem, and Keir Starmer still continuing to hide it. And again, if he has nothing to hide, if Elon Musk isn't right, which I do believe Elon Musk is absolutely correct. I don't think Elon Musk would come onto social media and speak about this publicly if there was no, or he had no proof, or he had no suspicion. I don't think he's the sort of guy that just chucks out words and leaves it. He's doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on Keir Starmer being a part of this cover-up. So why? He's super guilty. Why does he not just allow it? Why is he stopping his own members of parliament from voting for a public inquiry? There's something seriously fishy. Because if I had nothing to play a part and I was squeaky clean, I would say, go ahead, do it, go for it, do the full public inquiry. But it just screams of absolute guilt, because he's the only person that doesn't want it. And he's trying to gaslight everybody else who wants to see it. Little does he know, it's pretty much the majority of the country that wants to see it happen. So, yeah. What an arsehole. But guys, do let me know your thoughts in there. Lots of comments, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're all well. Take some comments in here. Pushing for a new national inquiry into the grooming gangs by halting the progress of the bill aimed at bolstering children safely is utterly sickening. It's only a job. Nothing will happen. It never does. Inquiry, whatever. AW88 says get Labour out. I did a poll, by the way. I said, is Keir Starmer hiding something? And 96% of you said yes. 4% of you said no. And there's been a lot of votes on this poll. So a lot of people obviously thinking that there is something there. But we're going to be there in 2 hours' time, guys. Ready for Prime Minister's questions to see. But as stated, if this vote or this vote goes ahead due to Kemi Badenoch pushing this sort of thing through, then Labour MPs have been gagged and whipped into voting against it, or could lose their jobs. Yes, you heard it right. Mental. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this one down there in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will be back later. In fact, we've got a super chat. Big shout out to English Who Dat. Donates $25. What an absolute hero, bro. Thank you so much for donating. What a guy, or woman for that matter. But thank you so much for donating $25 of your hard-earned money. What an absolute legend. That will go back into investment into the channel, of course, as we keep trying to bring you and make the content better on a day-to-day basis. So thank you very much for your super chat, my man. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you all later for the fallout of Prime Minister's questions.